Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Welcome, dear friends, to I Talk to Ghosts. Step inside the Spirit Parlour with me. The candles are lit, the tea is poured, the chairs are oh so comfortable, and the air has a hint of sandalwood and possibility. Tonight's conversation isn't about spirits from beyond, but the spirit within you, the one who has been waiting patiently, sometimes for years, for you to turn your gaze inward and to truly see it. We're talking about living an authentic life, the life that feels like it was tailored for your soul, not handed down from someone else's idea of who you should be. This is a journey of curiosity and heart, and yes, a little bit of magic. I want to talk about living as your authentic self. But first, I think we should discuss how we get stuck living someone else's life. Living authentically sounds simple. Be yourself. Yeah. Yet many of us are living a version of life that was scripted before we even arrived here. Because from birth, we're bathed in the beliefs of our family, the traditions of our culture, and the silent rules of society. You may have grown up in a family that valued stability over creativity, obedience over self-expression. Maybe your culture has strict definitions of what success looks like, and there isn't much room for dreaming. Or perhaps your earliest influences taught you that it's dangerous to stand out, that safety comes with sameness from blending in no matter what the cost. And because we're human, humans crave connection and approval. We adapt to those rules. We accept them. We wear the clothes, say the words, and take the paths that keep the peace. Sometimes we tell ourselves this is just how life is, and we stop asking questions. But really, deep inside, your authentic self doesn't forget. It leaves little signals, a pang of longing, a sense of restlessness, an image in your mind of a life that feels brighter, better, unique, and yours. I can't talk about authenticity in any way without addressing all the things, all the complex things that can really completely hold us back, such as the fear of change. If the life you're living now feels misaligned, the idea of shifting can feel overwhelming. After all, you've learned the landscape of your current life, even if it's rocky, but if it's certain, it's safe. The unknown, oh my gosh, that is another story. We run through the scenarios in our head when it comes to change. What if I fail? What if people think I'm foolish? What if I lose my relationships, my stability, my identity? These fears, let me tell you, are deeply human. and understandable and okay. They're survival instincts dressed up in modern clothing. Your brain has one job: to keep you alive. And to the brain, alive often means familiar, because familiar's safe. Even if that familiar is draining your energy, numbing your joy, or making you feel like a stranger in your own skin, like this life isn't yours, it's everyone else's. It's important to acknowledge this fear and recognize it and not run away from it, because running away from it does not help us. I heard recently that we spend so much of our time trying to logically get out of feeling something. We try to logically protect ourselves from feeling a certain way. It's kind of all we do sometimes. So it's important to acknowledge this fear of change and not to banish it, but to sit with it, to feel it, to ask, is this fear protecting me or keeping me small? And here's the thing. A big part of that fear comes from the ego. The ego is the construct we build that defines ourselves, our place in the world, and what the world means to us. Your ego has one main objective: to define you and to keep you safe. But safe to the ego doesn't mean happy, it doesn't mean fulfilled, or it doesn't care if you're spiritually alive. The ego doesn't care if you're miserable. It only cares that you stay in line, avoid judgment, and never risk humiliation. It wants to keep you safe by any means possible. Your soul and your spirit may be yearning for something bigger, more vibrant, and more true, but the ego will try to herd you back into the corral of the familiar, to the point where you might not even know what authentic living means to you. Honestly, maybe you're listening and thinking, okay, but I don't even know what that would even look like, what it is you even want. And that is completely normal. If you're living from someone else's blueprint, you may not have had the space or the permission to imagine anything else. So here is where curiosity becomes your compass. Think of it as a treasure hunt for your own soul. Ask yourself these questions. When do I feel most alive? What moments make me forget about time entirely? What activities, ideas, feelings make you just lose yourself in the flow? And you might not even have experienced that in a really long time. So go ahead and take the next step and ask yourself, what did I love doing as a child before I learned what was acceptable or useful? We can all usually go back to our childhood and find things that we loved and made our hearts sing, and find a adult world translation to what that can mean for you now. Maybe you loved caring for animals. Maybe you loved learning new things or trying new foods or visiting new places or coloring. Or maybe it was like building miniatures or making up fantasy worlds for yourself. Find that thing or multiple things that really just made you lose time, made you feel as if you were magically in another world. Pay attention to what lights you up and also what drains you currently. If a certain environment or routine always leaves you heavy, that's a clue. If a certain activity leaves you feeling energized and expansive, that's another answer. And remember, authenticity isn't just about what you do, it's about how you feel while you're doing it. Some examples. Maybe authenticity for you is a slower, more peaceful life close to nature. Or perhaps it's one filled with travel, new faces, and constant reinvention. It could be dedicating your days to art, healing, or creating something that outlives you, something that you can share with others and affect their life in some way. The point is, there's no one-size-fits-all version of an authentic life. It's yours to design. You'll know it because your soul will reach out and say, yes, this feels right to me. And again, if you've never had the opportunity or the permission to do this kind of dreamy work, allow yourself the space to really connect with that part of yourself. We should be living in our soul space. We should be leading with our heart, and none of that can be dictated by the external around you. And I think that when we start dreaming in such a way, that's when the ego gets triggered and it starts to panic because it wants to keep you safe in the now, in the normal, expected routine of things. So expect that. But make sure you support your fear and you tell yourself that you are okay, and allow yourself to do these dreamy exercises to connect with yourself. When we talk about inner child work or connecting with your inner child, to me, it's not necessarily a small version of you. It's the version of you that was you before things happened, before you had to start reacting, or before you started having to deal with the external world around you. Your inner child is your fresh soul, your new self. And you're still in there. I know you are, because you are innate, no matter what the circumstances in life has been. If you want to start living the truest, most honest version of yourself, internally and externally, you need to support yourself through that shift. You don't have to blow up your life to start living authentically. In fact, that approach can sometimes really backfire. So gentle change often has a more sustainable power to it. And here are some ways to begin. Teeny experiments. Try out something that intrigues you without making a big deal or commitment about it. Have you always wanted to paint? Get a small sketchbook. Curious about hiking? Start with a small local trail. It doesn't mean you have to go out and buy all the expensive gear and a sports utility vehicle to get you out there, right? There's a big difference between those two approaches. Set some safe boundaries. If a situation or a person constantly drains you, set a small limit. It could be as simple as declining one event a month that doesn't feel right to you. We often blow this up in our head and feel intimidated by our own judgment of the situation and force ourselves to go. But there's a good chance the other person might not even notice. And even if they do, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Maybe it's more of an internal shift. Tell yourself that you're not going to dwell, you're not going to give internal energy to this situation or person, and it may make a big difference to you and you'll feel it. But again, odds are that the situation or the other person might not even notice. Another way to begin a small shift is seek your reflections. Surround yourself with voices, books, and communities that feel aligned with where you want to go. Inspiration feeds transformation. If you start to immerse your external world into what you want it to be, if you start bringing in influences into your home or just your conscious space, it's going to start shaping and influencing your life in ways that you may or may not even detect. Start seeking out what you want your internal world to be and pull it into your life. This can be through podcasts or YouTube videos or audiobooks, physical objects in your home. Like say you want to start studying crystal work, go to a crystal shop, buy a piece of rose quartz, bring it in your home. You're creating an environment that wasn't there before. You're already manifesting something. You're already changing something with the smallest of acts. And I feel like when we can approach it with that sort of attitude towards magic, it makes all the difference. Think of it all like slowly adjusting a compass. Each small shift in direction moves you closer to your true north. Next, I want to talk about daring to dream. Remember, you have an amazing imagination. Use it for good. Your ego will think of worst case scenarios to cover all the bases just to get your attention and to use fear to keep you exactly where you are right now. Why? It's like I said before, to keep you safe. We have such a strong survival instinct, and in modern society, it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do but make it a project to dictate your life as it knows it. The unknown, unsafe, completely unsafe. But the problem with this is that all your ego knows is based on random data that it's collected in your life. If everything had gone a different way down to the nuances of it, your ego would be a different construct. And it's not fair that this programming is running the show based on random collected information about what the world is, how the world operates, and who you are. We got to break out of that. And sometimes that can be a lifelong project. And yes, some people may react when you change. Some may distance themselves from you. But here's the question. If your authenticity makes them not want to be with you or support you, was that relationship built on who you really are? Or was it built on the version of you that they preferred? And is that fair? And if someone is threatened or uncomfortable witnessing you live authentically, sometimes it's because it hurts to see something they aren't doing themselves, or their ego needs to be right for their ego's own safety, which means someone else, you, needs to be wrong. And you can't live like that. These rules, they're the bunk. When you live authentically, you give the people in your life a choice to meet the real you or to step away. And while that can sting, it also clears space for the people who will truly love and support you, your real people, your soul family. They'll be drawn to you when you shine in your truth. Again, it's part of getting rid of just this data and information that you use to construct your whole life and actually build a life because of your own choices and not the random situations that happen to have happened to you. That happen to have happened to you. Great sentence. So I want to encourage you by talking about the rewards of authentic living. Once you begin living in alignment with your true self, something magical happens. Your mornings feel lighter. You trust yourself more. You stop asking permission to exist as you are. Life becomes less about enduring and more about creating. You probably will notice that synchronicities, those little winks from the universe, show up more often, as if the world itself is saying, yes, you're on the right path. Yay, the right path. This is where your soul begins to sing, not in a distant, echoing hallway, but right here, every day. So tonight, my dear friend, I invite you to take one small step towards your authenticity. Write down a dream that you've buried. Try something you've always been curious about, or simply sit with yourself and ask, soul, what do you need from me? And then be a little brave and curious to follow where that answer leads. Just be curious, just check it out. And also be gentle with yourself, okay? Unraveling old thought patterns and limiting beliefs takes self-compassion, time, and definitely repetition. This is not overnight work at all. Thank you for spending this time with me in the Spirit Parlor tonight. Does this topic wake you up a little? Does it make you curious and put a little glow in your heart? I would love to hear what you start dreaming about that feels authentic to you. And I want to keep this conversation going because I completely understand how life builds up around us and suddenly we're not even asking ourselves these questions. They're not even occurring to us anymore. We have to address these foundational issues that keep us from being our true selves, keep us from expressing ourselves in any way that we want to. And self-expression is definitely a form of creativity. I have more ideas on how we can continue to explore. So join me again next Tuesday in the Spirit Parlor. And if you want, on my Patreon, I'm going to offer a journal prompting worksheet on how you can explore authentic self ideas and kind of start laying that groundwork for allowing yourself to be curious and playful in this space. My Patreon is patreon.com/italktoghosts, and that offering will be at the $1 level. Join me on Friday for some spooky ghost stories. And also keep an eye out on Sundays. That is when I will be posting my in-studio spirit readings when I have one ready and available to share. Until then, may your path be bright and your soul forever aligned with itself. Take care.
Welcome to Brew Crime, a true crime and beer podcast. Join me, Mike,
and me, JT,
as we explore the world of crime, conspiracies, or whatever catches our attention. This is a podcast where we pick a theme, cover a few cases, and pair them with a brew.
Between themes, we do what we call Brew Crime News, a funny look at current news stories, be it crime, animals, sports, or even celebrities.
You can find us on all social media at Brew Crime. Our website is brewcrime.com, and you can find us on any podcast app at Brew Crime Podcast.
Join us as we discuss the horrible crimes that surround us, and maybe, definitely, tip a bottle or two back as you do it. Drink with us weekly.
Hey everyone, I'm Erica.
And I'm Elizabeth.
We're sisters, wine lovers, and your hosts for the podcast Spirits Uncorked.
In Season 2, we're leaving the haunted waters of Lake Lanier in Georgia and diving into all new spooky stuff. Shadow people?
I've seen them.
Haunted military bases?
I've served on one.
Local restaurants with ghostly reputations?
I work at one.
Okay, if something spooky doesn't happen to you, I worry about you.
The paranormal is my normal.
Plus, we'll sip and chat with horror authors, fascinating guests, and test out some superstitions along the way.
Knock on wood.
So uncork a bottle and pour a glass of the paranormal with us on Season 2 of Spirits Uncorked.
Get ready for sips, scares, and sisterly sarcasm.